Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am here with my first update for my Panda palette of 2024. So I've been doing this project for years now. I always pan a palette in my year-long project pans because I really enjoy it and I like getting some palettes out. This is the second year that I'm panning an Anastasia palette. This year I am panning the Soft Glam palette. I really love this palette. It's a really easy everyday palette for me, so I've been enjoying it so far. I'm going to go through with you the progress of this palette and where I am with it today, if I was able to hit any pans, how many uses I was able to get on everything, as well as just how the palette looks today. So before I jump into that, if you're new here, please consider subscribing. I would love to have you in the family. Let's jump into the video. So like I mentioned, I'm panning the Soft Glam palette this year, which is from Anastasia. It is a warm tone, kind of neutral palette with a couple pops of cool tone shades. So I'm going to insert now the footage of what this palette looked like last month, so you can see where I started off with the palette. I already had quite a few pans in this palette and it was already semi well loved, so that is where my starting point was. Since then, it's been 1 month and this is where I am with this palette today. So you can see all of the progress there, the overview, but I will also, once the overview is done, I will have some pictures next to me so you can see what it looks like now. So I'm going to go through each shade in order and how much I used each shade so you can see the numbers. So first up in the palette we have the shade Tempera, which is that really light kind of cream shade. I don't set my eyelids before I do my makeup, but I use this type of shade as like a blending out eyeshadow, and that is how I've been using this one. The palette's really expanded on this one, and I have used it 22 times so far in the month, which is quite a high number. But yeah, this is an easy one to reach for, and I think you can tell with that expansion in the pan. Next to that, we have the shade Glistening, which is the first shimmer in the palette. This is kind of like a gold shimmer, kind of like a champagne gold shimmer. And this one I have used 7 times so far in the month. It's not really my favorite shimmer. It's not very impactful, but I do enjoy it still. I'm not sure how much the palette is expanded. I think it's expanded a little bit, but you will be able to see that better in the pictures right there. Another eyeshadow that I've been using a lot is the next one, which is Orange Soda. This is a really nice, easy blending out shade. It does seem very warm, but it is a really nice blending out shade for me. I have reached for this one 11 times in the past month, so it's up there in like one of my most used eyeshadows, but it's definitely not like the most used out of everything. But yeah, I have used it quite a bit. So that is Orange Soda. Next to that, we have the shade Rose Pink, which is one of my least used eyeshadows this past month. I've only used this one once. Again, it's like more that kind of satiny shimmer, and I think it's just the age of this palette. It means that some of the shimmers don't perform as well as they used to. But yeah, I have used it once as like a base, and I topped it off with more of a sparkly shade, which is how I think I'm going to continue using this eyeshadow. But for now, it's not been like the one that I've been reaching for the most. Next to that, though, we have the shade Sultry, which is also more of a kind of pink-leaning shade. And as you can see with this one, we have some exciting progress. So I have used Sultry 15 times in the past month, and I actually hit pan on this one after 15 uses. I have used this eyeshadow twice as a nail polish, which counts for the, like 10 out of the 15 uses, and then the other 5 I've used on my eyes. So I actually have it on my nails today. I wanted to show you what it looks like. So this is what Sultry looks like on my nails, and I really like how it looks. And this is just like one layer of Sultry, and it works really well. So I've used it on my nails, and then I also used it in a look yesterday, and I was able to hit pan in that look. And I think since I've been using this one as a nail polish, I worn down the pan quite evenly. I don't know if you can tell that in the pan right there, but I have worn this one quite evenly, which is why I think the pan is so large now, even when I just hit it yesterday. But yeah, that is Sultry, and it is my first new pan in this palette. Next to Sultry, we have the shade Bronze, which is again one of the more impactful shimmers. Both Sultry and Bronze are a little bit more impactful than the others, which I really like. I've used this one 4 times, so a couple times here and there, but nothing too much. Yeah, I've been going for other type of shimmers, but I will definitely reach for this one more, and I think this is one that I'm going to focus more on in the warmer months, both summer, I think, as well as leading into autumn. I think it's going to be a really nice shimmer shade to have on the lids. That is the shade Bronze. Last, for the top row, we have the shade Mulberry, which used to be my favorite shade in the palette. I still like it, but I don't think it's my favorite anymore. It is a little bit deeper than what I like going for, but I'm actually wearing this one in my look today, like on my outer corners. And I have used this one for the second time today, so not too much, but I have used it twice. Yeah, it's a really nice shade. I already had pan since before, but since I only used it twice, I don't think the pan expanded very much. But yeah, that is the shade Mulberry. First up on the second row, we have the shade Dusty Pink. This is another one that I haven't used too much. I've only used this one once. So the more kind of pink tone shades in this palette I haven't used the most yet. But yeah, that is the shade Dusty Rose. I think I'm going to reach for this one more. To be fair, I should be reaching for it now because we are in winter. And this is more of a winter shade for me. So maybe I'll try to reach for it more in February. Also, February is like more of a romantic month. I think a lot of people wear more kind of pinkier looks in February because of Valentine's Day. So maybe I can focus in on both Dusty Rose and Rose Pink next month to try to get some more use out of those. But yeah, that is Dusty Rose again, and I only use that one once. The last shimmer in the palette is the shade Fairy, which is again one of the more kind of satiny shimmers. It's a little bit more golden and a little bit lighter than glistening, but it's right here. Again, I already had pan on this one since before, and I've reached for this one 3 times in the past month. So again, a few uses here and there, but nothing too much. Moving on to one of my most used shades in the palette is the shade Burnt Orange. This is a really nice crease shade, and I've been using this one a lot. I have 14 uses on it in the past month, and I can see a little bit of a dip starting to form right there. I don't know if you can pick it up on camera, but yeah, I can see some use on it. Nothing too much, but I'm using quite a fluffy brush with it, so I think it's not going down as quickly as I would maybe like. But yeah, that is the shade Burnt Orange. Next to Burnt Orange is my new favorite shade in the palette, which is the shade Sienna. I really like using this one on my outer corners. It's like deep enough that it like, you know, gives a little bit of definition, but it's not too deep like the kind of shades on this side of the palette, I would say. So I love this one, and I love how rich and warm it is. It's like the kind of lighter version of Mulberry, which is why this one has replaced my favorite shade now, because I just don't go for as deep of looks as I used to. But yeah, I have used that shade 11 times in the past month, and I can definitely see a dip starting to form in this shade. I think hopefully you can pick it up there. So again, that was Sienna, and I am maybe hoping to have pan on that one next month, but I'm going to go over my goals at the end of the video. So for the 3 last shades in the palette, I haven't reached for these ones too much, but the first one out of the 3 is the shade Rustic, which I have used twice. It is more of a kind of cool toned, not cool tone, but it's like definitely more cool tone than this one here for an outer corner shade. And I haven't really been reaching for this one because it serves a similar use or like a purpose as Sienna, so I can only really reach for one of those at a time, and I've been going for Sienna much more than Rustic. But that is the next shade. I'm hoping again to reach for this one more maybe in the later half of the year, so like autumn and winter, like next year, or like end of the year, I guess. Then we have the shade Cypress Umber, which is right here, here. And this one I have used 5 times. I've actually panned Cypress Umber before, same with Burnt Orange. Both of those are repeating shade from the Modern Renaissance palette, which is the other Anastasia palette that I've panned earlier 2 years ago now. I like this shade, but yeah, I've only reached for it 5 times. There's a little bit of a dip for me in the shadow, but again, I don't reach for those really deep eyeshadows very often, which is why I haven't reached for this one more. But yeah, 5 uses is pretty good, but I'm hoping to step that up moving forward, because I think I need to get more use out of these eyeshadows than like 2 to 5 times in order to show some really good progress and actually be able to finish this palette. So that is Cypress Umber. Last up in the palette we have the shade Noir, which is the black, and again I've only reached for this one twice, so nothing too amazing, but it is a black. You know, I'm not sure if I will be able to finish this palette to completion, and this is definitely one of the shadows that I think I won't be able to maybe get through this year, but that is fine by me. I'm doing a lot of other eyeshadow projects this year, so not finishing this palette wouldn't be the end of the world, because I have other focuses this year than going through the whole palette. But that is all my uses for the palette. Let me again show you the overview of the palette and what it looks like now, and I will talk you through my goals. So I'm jumping in quickly here. If you look at the time, it is actually later than when I filmed earlier, and it's because I realized that I forgot to talk about the weight of this palette. So I'm going to do that quickly now before going back into the main footage of the video, but I'm going to talk you through the weight and how much I used up in the past month. So the advertised weight of this palette is 10.36 grams. So that's how much the palette says it has. Obviously, I already use this palette a lot, but I'm going to use that as my guideline. And that means that I have to use 0.86 grams a month on average in order to finish the palette. If I use 0.86 grams a month, then I will reach that 10.36 grams before the end of the year. So that is kind of like my rough goal. So at the intro of this project, this palette weighed 162.70 grams. So that was my starting point with the palette. So that is like the intro weight. Then when I weighed it today, it weighed 161 grams 81. So that is what the palette weighs now. And if you're doing some quick maths, that means that I have used up 0.89 grams, which is really good because it is above my average per month that I need to use. It's not very much over. It's only 0.03 grams over, but at least it is a little bit higher. I know like weighing your palette is a little bit kind of finicky. I know like the numbers aren't completely accurate. So maybe I've used less than that. Maybe I've used more than that. I don't know. But I do still want to continue weighing it just to have a rough estimate. I'm hoping that, if there is any fluctuation in weight, at least that will average out over the year. But that is kind of the weights as of now. So I'm happy that I was able to reach my weight goal. And I'm hoping to continue doing that for the months moving forward too. So yeah, that was my little quick interlude back into the video. So I did already kind of cover my goals a little bit, but I think my focus is for next month is going to be more of the kind of pinkier tones. So that is going to be Dusty Rose. Is that Dusty Rose? Yeah, Dusty Rose, Rose Pink, and Sultry. So those three are going to be some of my focuses next month. And I want to reach for all three of them like 10 times each. I think that should be feasible. So 10 times each for those three. Also on top of that, I do want to hit pan on Sienna. That is going to be my second goal. And I think I can do that too. Do I want to add anything else in? No, I think I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to try to have one more pan by next month and then use those kind of pinkier tones 10 times each. Again, I'm doing a lot of other eyeshadow projects here too, so I need to be realistic with my progress because I'm only reaching for this palette like a couple times a week. Like, because I'm doing my big fat eyeshadow project, the max I can reach for this palette a week is like 4 times. So yeah, it's really hindering my progress a little bit on this one. So I think putting those goals in should be enough for the next month. So that is it for this update, you guys. I really hope you enjoyed it. Let me know if you're panning a palette down below. Which palette are you panning and how are you doing in the first month? We are very early on in the year, so it's not like I'm expecting a lot of progress, at least not for myself, but let me know how you're doing with your projects. Are you liking the palette that you chose? Have you hit any pans yet, if that's your goal? So just let me know how you're doing. Also, I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are, and I will catch you in my next one. Bye, guys.